All right. Good morning. I woke up late. I didn't wake up late. I got up normal time, just taking care of the kids, sick. So we got a little bit of a slow start. And it is Friday, so we're not trying to jump into anything right off the open. The levels we got going on here. Let's see. Here it is. Copy. Trade yesterday. Markets love to go up, especially on Fridays. I don't know what's going on today. We have obviously the overnight high. I put it down here at 16,979.25. Really, we opened on the highs here, so any sort of acceptance back below this opening range is the acceptance on the high. I put it here as more of an eyeball of the pre-market structure here of that breakout point where they retested it as well. So that's why I have it there. View out below, and then we have the overnight low down here right at that 73. Well, it's the 666 level for the overnight low, but that was at 73 level yesterday. That was pretty important, right? So we're gonna just kind of watch, wait and see. Markets on Friday seem to love to do a little rally. This is a little trying to keep my tilt on. MAQs, longs are a little bit heavy. We're coming right into this liquidity zone for my little thing there. Remembering from yesterday, we used this as a liquidity zone. Can we wick above that again into that 62s, right? No, 46s. Can we wick it and then roll back over? We will wait and see. That is an important spot from the rollover last week. That's where we pushed up to, rallying up, sell off from last week, and now we're completely cleaning up from that last week's rally. You can see it here. That was the beginning of the sell-off yesterday, right? Consolidation there. CPI high was there. And then we came here and we rolled. Yesterday I was looking because of the CPI data. Today's PPI data was a little bit better than expected. So it was almost a wash, right? PPI is the production price index. It's cost of manufacturing. I posted that in the Tradecaster chat. You can see it over there. You could even go over to Trading Economics or anywhere that you get your news. But I'm looking at this candle here for that CPI flush from yesterday. Not sure if we were going to want to hold everything, but I mean, S&Ps are rallying pretty steadily. Looking to break above that high there at 36 and then see even 38. If you break above those, you do have up until the tops of these zones at 41, and then you go from there. The NASDAQ also looking to push those highs in the 30-minute here. 46 is that key line in the sand for me, but really that's CPI high at 58, 59. And really, once you get into that number, 60, nice round number. So we're going to wait and see what that does. Trending days are difficult for me. I never really find a great entry. Our opening range is sort of tight. 78 ticks. You could, maybe about 80 ticks. Yeah, about 80 ticks. This could have been a nice long through here. Catch it to the high. we're looking for that divergence. You're getting a good delta here, push to the downside at that high. The tilt, I have to wait for it to scroll by, so it's not a very good indicator because I gotta wait for it so long, but kind of keeps me out. Coffee today, very important. It is Friday. We're up. This is easing into the month, the week, the year, and this is so far $661.84 week, which is good. I'll take that every week. I would love to improve on it today. However, I'm trying to preserve capital, have a winning week. We're not trying to give more than that back. Like yesterday, we dipped down, went into the negative, and then finally pushed back on the last 3 trades above, back into the positive territory, keeping the week strong. If you don't believe it, here's my top step equity curve for the week, right? $5, $152, $455, and after fees, $58 yesterday. So it was a good week so far, and I'm just trying to keep my capital, or get a few good wins here and call it a day, week, and then look on to next week. Next week should be another similar week as far as me streaming. Sunday night when I get off of work, I will type up my weekly analysis, which is posted up in the chat if you are interested in some of that stuff. It's public. It's Google Doc. You can come see it here. Put it in the chat. Oh, my bad. I always push off the screen. I'm not on there. There we go. Thanks, Temple. The top step stuff is here. Since we weren't able to see it, there's the week so far, right? Nice little equity curve. Nothing too crazy. No dips, no pops. Just steady up and to the right is what we want to see. I put in the Google Doc so you guys could see it. It's in the Tradecaster as well. That's my weekly. I didn't update it during the week this week. I would like to kind of keep a running tab, but with the stream, that's kind of my running tab, my digital journal, so I can look back and see what I want to see. On the weekend, I could look back at my YouTube videos and I could see what I did, what I didn't do. Certain trades that I want to look back on yesterday as far as what I could have done on entries. I could review all that over on Saturday and Sunday, and then come back Sunday night with a solid plan. And I write up a whole fresh new doc. I usually look back at the week prior, get some information and data from there, and then I look back and then I look ahead. Alrighty. Yesterday's low, 753. Yesterday's high, 1757. That's up here. I think we're getting a little bit of a divergence here, right? We're rolling a bit on the delta, right? We're pushing down and we're trying to push back up. So if we get a nice little wick here of 45, that's higher than yesterday's wick that I wanted to short, right? Yesterday's wick that I wanted to short was here. It never quite got to the CPI high. We got right up into 45 and then we rolled back down. Could we rotate back again today? Possibly. With the PPI number, it kind of cancels out all that data from the CPI. So do I want to cancel out that CPI high there at 60 first? I might look for that as well. So we do get the divergence here. Maybe I might take a quick shot at it if I get a good tilt. Currently, we're 69% long at 17.025. So they're in the money a bit. So not much. Could I get a heavier tilt above here? A delta divergence, a roll back to VWAP, and then maybe they take it long again? That could be the answer here. So I'm going to watch and see what the behavior is on this 1 minute candle here and see if we can get that whip and run back down. you're looking at it on this chart, right? That 46 has been a key level for a long time. That white line is usually a longer term daily level. So we hit it here, we hit it here. We didn't quite hit it yesterday, and today we're not quite getting there. But if we do, that's where we're going to look to catch that liquidity, right? That 45 to 60. We haven't got there. So yesterday, the same deal. I mean, I could have missed it here, but if we hold down below 23, then that's where you could look to enter. But on Fridays, and if it's a possible trending day, I don't want to try and be picking tops. So this is not trying to pick the top. This is trying to get my divergence, get my setups, and I rotate back down into value. And hopefully the VWAP would be great. But I want a manipulation. I want some more cleaning up of this volume node here. But there we go. You can see how that tilt really kind of plays at key levels. Right now, we're not tilty anymore. So that push to the downside didn't add any sort of negative tilt where people are piling in short. So you are keeping the buyers involved at 50-50. The S&Ps is more heavy at a 64, 65%. So the sellers are starting to tilt in. If we can get a tilt in here and then they stop run some people down into this liquidity level, then push up, still get that divergence, and then we wicket this off with a either high volume or a high tilt here, then I can look for this first move to be the first liquidity grab, second liquidity grab, and then finally get the full roll, at least down to the level here. That's my thought process on it. So this first move, I'm looking for it to be the first liquidity grab into that top of that opening range. 52% long still here. So the longs are holding up. Now let's see. If this pushes up hard, we get that wick. And if we get that wick above 45, and you can see that manipulation, right? That long tail, a wick off top, something of that nature, cleans up some of the weak orders that were up there, or the excess high, as some people call it, where the CPI number was yesterday. I really want to clean that up. I feel like that's just like something that's a target. That's what wants to be hit. And so those orders are sitting there. So we need to figure out this zone here before we take a short. Right. Could you have made some quick money on the tilt here? Yeah, you could have caught a quick little, how many points? 88 ticks there. That's only if you top tick that on the delta and on the delta divergence and on the tilt. But really, that's not a great move. That's not something that I want to see. Me, right? To catch this move is possible, and if that's what I'm looking to do, then you got to get in and then have your out. But for my plan, for it to be more of like a 85% chance, 95, we're all looking for 100% chance trades, right? So if I'm looking for the move to happen, and the way to mitigate my risks is to, you see that candle there? That's sped up, grabbing some liquidity down below. Our delta is kind of pushing. The tilt is 64% low. I don't know if there's some news there. I don't have any news on me. But that's a good little push down. There is importance here at this 2350 level. But what I was back to saying is, I'm looking for something that's going to do something like that. And if I catch half, a third, if I get stopped at break even, that's free trades for me, right? Because I don't want to try and catch this little thing, because there's a good chance it just whips me and gets me out. And I can't get much out of this. And if I look for the next bigger move, right, really I want like a full rotation to the other side as my normal play. But that's the only way to almost guarantee that I'm not going to take full losses. I would rather take paper cut break even or small loss, and then get that bigger move down. And that's trying to wait for just to be timed correctly. There's a flush into the opening range. So let's see what happens within this opening range. I don't like to trade the middle of it. That's not something I like to do. Right? So my thought process on here was flush the bottom, stop them out above the highs, and then run them down. They didn't even get there. They just got right to the top of this liquidity zone again at 33. If we look back to yesterday, that is exactly the same thing that happened here. Right to 33, 32, 33. Came up here and then rolled. So we're doing almost the exact same thing we did yesterday. Do we get the full follow through? Possibly. Do we hold up right here? Possibly. The idea is there, and I don't know what it is about my my executions this week, as far as these shorts. So now that I missed this, like, not that I'm mad at it or that I'm, if it falls out of bed here, it is what it is. But you have to have a reason to enter, and if this didn't give me that full reason, it does give me a good reason, right? It came down, it rallied up to a liquidity zone. It tried to push up and failed. Then you get the tilt. Then you get the divergence and delta, and you get a rollover. I mean, the first target was VWAP. Now that we've pushed through VWAP so hard, this is something has to have been come out. What is that? Now we're wicking. If we hold below VWAP, we want to hold below that 79 to 80 level, right? That's a low volume liquidity area. If we wick that and come back down and then roll over again, maybe look for a short entry there, but that was the short, right? If we're pushing up overnight, this is all overnight stuff. We opened, we wicked it, we pushed above, we grabbed some liquidity, we rolled back right to VWAP. That would have been a beautiful, if you entered there below 23, 1,500, you can catch $1,000 move just like that. How many seconds was that? 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds. That's a quick trade. That's how the NASDAQ acts. S&Ps are pushing down to a structure point at 815. That's that morning trade that I like to look to see at 9 o'clock. I guess really that's coming into the 9 o'clock hour. Possibly that's what you were looking for. If you were looking at yesterday's move, the same exact style of AAA, the next 1, 2, 3, 4 30-minute candles are to the downside. Nothing ever happens exactly the same. I'm not chasing this, right? You got wick. If you got, and now you're getting the delta push, you can push through here. Point of control is right there at 950 yesterday, right? 950 was a level that I was talking about a lot. 950, 940. Down. Push. That was 850 actually, I'm sorry. 950 is up in here. So we have from this consolidation. Look at all this cluster from yesterday. We're going to see how it reacts here. If it just kind of knifes through here, you got some sort of big seller up there at the top, and the shorts may just be here to play for the rest of the day. And delete this. That was the play I took yesterday to get myself back above even, and I trailed tight just because it got me to a zone here where I was going to look to just take my profits, get myself even a run. However, if I would have stuck to my trailing rules and stayed under each candle, I wouldn't have been stopped out until up into here. But hindsight always is better Hindsight's always 20/20, right? Okay, so now we're sitting below VWAP today. Okay, we're holding VWAP. The 69 level, 69.75 is another point of interest between there and 79. The S&Ps are holding that 815, so we're at a point where it's just going to be cluster chop a bit for some time, just based on yesterday's chart. But like I said, between that 69 and 79 is the higher end of that 82, then down into that 920. There was a big range there between 12 o'clock yesterday and 3:30, and down into the overnight lows, which was at 67. So if we want to clean up those overnight lows and then rally back, that could be a possibility. But if they're looking to catch some longs above that 69, that overnight, or this overnight high here, that 79, that's my overnight high, even though it's not quite it. They had a nice little rally here, run right up, and then the base of that consolidation could look to possibly stop them out, because this would be a logical stop. Even though it's quite wide, it is just kind of where people, if they were wrong, that's where they would be wrong, right? You get this big push up from that number, and that cleans it up out after that 730 number. The base of that is here. So our PPI range is like right here. So that's where it kind of just started to settle down and do its thing. Obviously it rallied afterwards, but this is that first minute candle and first 2 minutes really. So we're inside that range. So if it wants to accept and clean up the bottom of it before it goes higher, could be a possibility. But I don't like to use VWAP as entry. I like to use it as confluence. that push up. Friday, just taking care of an email. All right, so we're pushing right back up. Held VWAP here. Above that high, it came back above that pretty easily. I need to see a little bit more information before I want to enter any sort of trade, right? Because look at this V bottom that we got going on here. The 30-minute tail on this is down here, right? Pushing up, pushing back to the high side. This is all 30-minute there. We're not quite in a zone where I want to short, and the long idea obviously could come into play. I mean, right at 17,000. You'd have to push above 17,008 for it to be in a valid push above this little crack of this trend line here, but also you could get a whip above here. Again, we were looking to clean up highs here at 45 and 60, so that's why I was looking at that long idea. But short is my thought with as far as how that move happened at the top there. There's still a big seller involved. Still a big seller involved. Zero trades for me right now. Delta's pushing down, price is pushing down. We're sitting on top of this, right? Resistance, support, flushed it, got some stops out. Now what are we going to do here? What are we going to do at 79? Alrighty, we're still just kind of sitting here. It's Friday. I'm not looking to rush into any positions here. I would honestly, this short was the play of the day so far. If it's going to continue to be a short, we're going to need to look to hold below this 79, and then we're going to have to hold below VWAP, because if VWAP is going to keep acting as a support in a little bit of a range here between zones, I don't like to use it as a, hey, I'm going to buy off of VWAP. I use it as a target. I use it as confluence. I use it as information, right? Because it's not going to be an exact science ever. Nothing is. Friday. We are diverging on the delta, is in more so of the delta is heavier. So it looks like it wants to push down further, even more now. I don't have it tilted. This right here, right? The bottom of this, we're flushing the bottom of that. We have not made a new low in price action quite yet. It's getting heavy. The S&P is back to that 815. NASDAQ is below the 79s. We're right at VWAP. We have tilt is 67% short. So there's a chance that we do get the rejection here. I'm going to say if we do get back above 79, then you want to clean up that long from yesterday. No, my kids are yelling, so if you hear it. Right here, we're in this. Look at this chop from, like I said, yesterday at like 1 o'clock, we pushed up above, and then we sat in this range all night. That's your entire overnight session, aside from between 3 a.m. and 5:30. Right, we had that little bit of a sell. We still stayed in between, right? So then you didn't break down until 5:30 this morning, probably to get some liquidity for the idea of PPI missing. If it missed, then it would have probably rolled over a bit, but it came in line, so or slightly better than expected. So you got that pop. So sellers came in, broke out right back to the high part of this range, and then obviously close to open, we rallied. And so now we're kind of just sitting here right back in that range, the high end of that range. Do we want to roll back and clean up that low, overnight low? That's the question of the day so far. It's either clean up this low or clean up this high from yesterday's PPI. And right now we're trying to break above 79. We're getting a little bit of that stronger delta. Short was tilty short. Now we're at 60% long, 58% long. I want to get maybe back up into here again to decide if we do go short. Because this is the middle of the range still. It's the high end of the overnight range, but the daily range, you know, we're here, we open, we're pushing off the bottom, trying to push above. Delta's trying to make highs. Price is not trying to make highs. Like you saw here, Delta was making new lows, but price did not make new lows, and we ended up pushing up. We are sort of in indecision mode right now. I don't point of control, VWAP, middle, you know, overnight range is from here to here, really is at the open. It's up there. So, you know, that's the overnight range. This is just that from 12 till 5:30, that range there. 12 o'clock afternoon yesterday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday till today. It was a 200 pip tick range. There's some push down again. This could be the actual push down that we were looking for. We're kind of holding below VWAP, holding below 79. If you did take an entry above, or like as we flush through VWAP, your risk is still around $390, $400. It's decent size of a stop for me. I don't like that much range, but we're not making new lows on the Delta. Today is probably going to be a quick stream, just to, you know, my goal was to get on every single day that I am physically able to, or if I have something going on. But if I could stream every single day of this year, that's going to be my goal. Whether I stay on all day, whether I stay on till 11, whether I stay on till 10, it's just going to depend. But as long as I get on every single day, I'm going to build that habit and I'm going to build that routine, and I'm going to give everybody the opportunity to have some sort of interaction, right? So we're pushing back down to the bottom half of that that range. 926 to me is very important. It touched, we flushed it here, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this whole entire price action there. This one sat right below it, but then pushed back above, and we sat on top of it, rejected, right? So this, to me, seems like an interesting point to possibly look to catch along. So that move down there was congruent with Delta. So is it a wick? I don't think so. It's currently 77% short though. So if we can get one more good push below 26, then I might look to take that long above our zone with the stop below 26, right? So if I can get a liquidity sweep of 26 and then return back, that PPI number wants me to take a long. It's the base of that there. 26 would be like that sweep. Shorts kind of that they got in too soon. Too soon, and tilt got tilty. It might actually continue down. Delta is pushing down. Price is pushing down. Tilt is 62% short from 959, so they're still sort of in the money, so that's pretty good. We haven't added to it yet. Well, 62%, 9, so they're still good. They're still in the money. I would love to see that 26 level flush. Get that secondary push down. You know, we have this minute close, then we come here, we give that little flush, and then pop right back up, take the long from here, stop below 26, and look to at least catch to VWAP. And like I said, I really don't like that they haven't cleaned up that high of that CPI number yet. If I get ran over from that, I wouldn't be upset, right? There's that base of value is what we're looking at. Then all the way down, 2 days ago, value area high is 14, so 920. Let's see what like Apple is doing. Apple is in a 30-minute indecision sitting at the base of this, possibly looking to sell off. We got Amazon selling off, Microsoft indecision, but looking to go green there, so it's a little stronger. Need to flush 26. Just like at the high here, if I miss this move because it doesn't give me that added confidence, then that's fine. If I miss this move here, I mean, really the risk to reward, if it's just to take it back to VWAP is whatever, but it's really to get to the high of the day, this kind of move, catch this flush. I don't feel like taking something just because it's like this is yesterday and today. This high is the short that I'm looking for, right? Except for the fact that it didn't clear out those stops. So this is not an A plus. It's more in the B plus range for a setup. You know, B plus, because it didn't get that last added layer. If it gets up here and then fails and then rolls back down, yeah, A plus. Take it every single time. Same as here. If I get that liquidity flush, high tilt, delta divergence, flush through the 26, and then immediately reject it, looking to come back to the upside, I find that to be a liquidity grab. I find that to be more of an A setup. I don't say A plus because we are in that downtrend, and a flush of this and a pop above could lead to a quick stop out and a run. However, if it's right, it could be right really quick and return back up. Here we're at a B, right? Because we hit the top of the level. We're diverging a bit on the delta because the delta tried to make new lows and the price never even came close. So we could push up from here. And on Fridays especially, I'm not looking for B trade ideas. when you're sitting here like this little chop fest there, that's not giving me an entry criteria. Price slowed down a bit. So like I said, it was speeding up to the downside. You could see the dome speeding up. You could see the wick down. I wanted the secondary wick down for that long idea, but we never got further down than the low here. That also tells me a little bit. Just for reference, you're looking at this here. I don't use these trend lines as like an exact science. Like a lot of people get really technical and they only use trend lines to break, because if we did, right, that's the break of the trend line there. That could possibly be the entry for these, longs. However, like I said, that's a B for me, not an A. And on a Friday, I'm only looking for A plus stuff. That's the idea. That was tilt was long, so the confluences I had, as opposed to the one that I did not get, didn't get to the level. Up here, didn't get to the level. Down here, didn't get to the level. Two trades that would have played, obviously you see them work out, but that added layer of that one more piece of I need that flush down to get some liquidity, because then I can get that full rotation. Right. Yesterday I was looking for that, didn't get it. Same deal. Got the rollover on the B plus. Right. If you're looking at this delta from the open, we're pushing up. We got to the 45 level. We started to push down. Price tried to push up a little bit over here. Like these candles were trying and were just getting rejected, and your delta was pushing down. You were getting negative delta as you're kind of pushing up. Sellers are trying to fight that zone. Tilt got a little hot when we got to this point here. We never made new highs. Once you set back down below 23, it was the same exact setup as yesterday. Roll it over. Now we're in a downtrend, so fighting this little piece here, I want to go long through. It would have been this setup, right? We get down. This pushes to the top of the zone, comes back up. Then we flush the 26 and we look to return back to here. That would be a more convincing move to see that the rotation to the upside happens and we clear out that high. It's less convincing to me if we do what we just did. However, longer time frame version of this, if we get this bounce here, come to VWAP, and then do it, flush it, then that could be the next idea, right? Because you push up the VWAP, but we're holding and we're making new lows on delta, but we haven't made new lows on price. Sellers are trying to come in, but maybe there's bigger buyers involved. Yeah. Fridays are my nemesis. I either make a big trade, or I grind out a long day. So a lot of times I'll avoid trading Fridays after having a decent to above average week. Today is just an average week, just trying to build up the account, get on the stream, continue my streak of streaming every day. Obviously, I got on late. It was kind of a hard day as far as overnight for the kids, so having nothing to enter here also adds to the idea of, hey, maybe by 10 o'clock get off the charts and get ready for the day. Enjoy the weekend, keep the profits for the week. If I can get one trade in, win or lose, that's it for the day. Go enjoy your weekend and figure it out from there. Sitting above VWAP now, above 69s, 70s. There's a little bit of a wick. Price is speeding up here. We're getting a little bit of pressure on this side. A crack above that 79 will probably lead to a good little pop, just because of how we saw it reacting. As stop, breakthrough, stop, breakthrough. It's gotten less important because of these two defiances of the level. However, it is sort of acting now at this point as that little stopping point. There is either a seller there. There's another push. Could we get another push, the leg to the downside now with the rejection of that 69? The base of the 42s here, that should be the flush point, just based on the touches over here, right? I'm going to put that level right there just because I feel like it's a pretty important one. Come on. Yeah. Where'd it go? Yeah, it's there. That's a key point. It's going to be more zone, but look at how it reacted, right? I used that from the overnight session, and then now look, touched it, wicked it. So that is a pretty important spot. So I'm going to watch that. 79s. If we break here, should get a little bit of a pop. Higher volume, because we're in a low volume node. A sweep up into this 95 as a higher volume node, and it is the base of the opening range. So there's the follow through, I guess, if you will, from this entry criteria of breaking the lows, lack of a flush, then you pop up, use VWAP as the sort of like resistance point, and we push back down. Once we tick below here, we get negative delta, negative tilt. It was 70% short. So that was a good indication that it was going to go long. Unfortunately for me, my entry was looking to be more of a flush of the 26th level. I needed to see something along those lines. However, I didn't have this 42.75 level drawn up. I pushed back just now, obviously you saw if you were watching, and I clicked over there and I added that level. So that level is pretty key. Obviously, it reacted pretty well. So if I had that more of an idea, then maybe I would have been able to take this as an A setup, not A plus, because we never got the flush on the second flush, right? We did get a touch on it. Then my stop would have been down here. You get an entry around there. You know, when you're looking for that, you're so tight to VWAP, you could look to get that full rotation to the upside, clear out the high, or at least to the high of the opening range. So there's good return, good risk on that trade there. That's another spot of interest. So it's that high at 45 and that low at 42. 17,045 and 16,942. I should be more precise in the levels that I'm saying. What's Apple doing? Microsoft. So when I switched over to Microsoft before, you could see that it was being the strongest of the bunch, and now it's pushing up. It might be carrying the market. Apple is now sitting in that indecision there. And trying to push up, and not quite as strong as Microsoft. Amazon's starting to push up. We got Nvidia looking to, it's an inside 30. If you crack the high of that 30, you can look for a little pop. And if you do get that, then that's a possible indication of these equities indexes that are weighted by those to get a pop as well. So this is no longer important. I don't need this. It did work though. The ideas are there. The confluences are there. The hesitancy is it being Friday. I'm looking for A plus only type setups for today. I'm looking to catch a piece of a big move that's going to tell me that I'm right pretty quickly. Like this one was right, however, it was not very fast. This one would have been faster. This would happen in 4 or 5 seconds. 4 or 5 minutes, I'm sorry. We are getting that rejection from the overnight. I mean the opening range. Back down below 79. Could indicate a good sell there. On top of the view up. On top of the view up, just above value area high. These are the things that you look at. Does it act as resistance again and again and again and again? Does it act as support again and again and again and again? Are we wedging? Is this a real wedge? Is this just something that's just happening? Will it respect it again? Does this wedge become the breakout or the breakdown? Right now, the 30-minute candle is sitting above 69, 79. We're sitting on it. S&Ps are above 815. 815 on the S&Ps. You can see that there. NASDAQ, 30-minute candle there. If we break down below the lows, then you do have that full rotation back to the other side. So we're looking at those levels pretty intently. 66. Not using VWAP as the entry point. Using the 30-minute level, the base of the previous 30-minute candles, 63s. That looks more like the short idea there. I don't have the risk to reward on it that I would like. Need a long tilt for this to be something that I want to get involved with. Maybe whip above that wedge. See if it fails a breakout. A failed breakout to me usually leads to a decent sell. Turn off my fan real quick. Got a little chilly in here. Okay, so we are attempting to make these highs. We're using 79. That level is very important. S&Ps is pushing down. Which one of these? Nvidia is pushing down. MSFT, Microsoft still pushing to the upside on the 30. Apple, why did it go over there? Also looking a bit heavy. Not quite convinced. The only thing that's really holding this up is Softy. It's pushing up. Nvidia finding that resistance. Apple finding that resistance. Amazon also finding that resistance. So Microsoft is leading the markets up. Hopefully we can. I'm gonna take this short from here. Stop loss above. If we can get that breakdown here with all these other equities acting as a confluence, hopefully VWAP doesn't hold, which it seems like it's doing. Yeah, VWAP. Come on, baby. Break down through the VWAP. That would have been my negative part of the confluence. However, I would think that this does like to hold that 79 level. '26s should be my target. 42 technically is the first target if we do get that rotation. If we crack above 79, then I'm going to be out manually. Amazon, Apple, Nvidia, still pushing down. I think we're going to get that push down. Usually you don't want to short a slow market, but hey, this is my, just confluence wise, that's the idea that I have. I need this flush here. There we go. If it gets above 79, I'm wrong. 42s is the base of it. There we go. I'm back to break even. This is a free trade. I want to see this thing roll over. I want to flush the bottom of that zone, but if I don't get it, I don't get it, right? That's kind of how my thoughts go every time, right? There's that crack, the reasoning behind it, all that. I talked you through it. Confluences with the stocks that are the major levels on here. If this is just a quick little breakdown flush liquidity grab, then I'm out, and then it's going to rip higher, and I'd be wrong anyway. So right now, I'm break even plus a little bit, cover my fees, and I'm looking for that flush of the 42s. If we crack the 42s with a little bit of gusto, then we could possibly get our total sell-off for the day. But right now, we're probably going to get stopped out because I'm not really in a great spot for my stop. VWAP, basically. Yeah, I'm out. So I'm out for plus $40 on that quick little out. I was up, to the bottom of that zone. Could that have been a liquidity grab? My thought process is if it rejects there quick, like it did, it could rotate back to the upside and then stop me out full loss. So I'm glad I'm out because it does look like it's going to hold here and push. But look at that, good break. Realistically, the entry could have been up here down to there, and that's like where you could actually secure, okay, now I'm at above VWAP as my stop, entry there, secure 200, and then let the rest rally. Or if you take this short here, based on the confluences you had from the equities, and you took a two guy, you could take one off at the bottom of this right here. These are all obvious points of where we're at, right? Then you could at least have one off, one at break even, secure, 200-ish per contract. But it's Friday. A $40 day is better than a negative day. And look at that. Push up. The idea of if it cracks my stop, it's likely to stop me out anyway, is probably the theory that happens here, right? So I'm very happy that I was out there. Really, once I saw that wick and that price action, I should have possibly moved my stop down a bit. I just want to let it breathe because if it did crack and we did get that full crack down, then that was where the move was going to happen. I'm very content with that stop. The whole execution I was pretty happy with. Execution, trail, stop out, and we made $40-ish. So, like I said, that range was from this green line to the 26s for the overnight, right? Oh, and then now obviously the more important level is that 42 before it's like this zone here, right? That's a zone, 42 to 26. Will I get the move now? Probably. I was a little early. What's going on with those equities? And you can tell it from there a bit, right? Oh, there we go. NVIDIA is cracking down. NVIDIA probably leading, right? If we leave that here. NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft. Microsoft was leading to the upside. We still now at this point have wicked the value area high, and now it's kind of pushing down. So all of these equities are starting to press, and now we're getting that crack. There we go, crack at 42. Delta's congruent. I'm going to sell this right here. Looking for the follow through down to the downside on this crack of the low. We don't get it. We don't get it. It's fine with me. But the way that pressure came in, right? I was late. I was early. Stopped myself out before this was my target. I'm looking to still get that crack to the downside. Not quite getting there. Wow, that's a good liquidity grab. I will get out shortly. It's going to stop me out. There we go. We're out. All right. Well, there you go. There's that liquidity grab that we were looking at before. Delta was congruent. All these equities were pushing down. I kind of stopped myself out there. It was kind of silly on that entry. I should have been entering up here on the breakdown of the previous low. All right, well, look for one more, and that's that. Microsoft pushing back to the upside, cracking the highs. Do we get that long now? If we crack that, we're going to add to it. If we get that crack down, that flush below where this wick down happened, then we should fully flush a little bit here. First take profit would be 62 flush. Kind of just playing in the middle now, giving back my week. Like I said, I didn't want to do. Do I want to add to that winner? I do. Gonna need this flush to happen now. Gonna need this flush to happen now. Come on now. Need the flush to happen right now. S&P's is pushing down. 69s is the level that I was looking at. The bottom half of that is 65s, 65s. So if we hold below 65s, we should be able to flush down. There we go. We're pushing, we're pushing, we're pushing. I don't want to be losing any more than I have to. There we go. We're pushing down again. Could we get that flush here? Let's see what happens. I'm not going to add any risk. So if it tickles me in there and we flush again, then the stops are going to be at the pretty much average break even. If we do get that flush, right? We've added, I'm at break even on this one. I'm on break even on that one. We're not at the average break even, but we're at my break even point. There we go. We've added, we're at break even. We're pushing down. We're trailing one. We're trailing two. Can we get the flush now? Can we get the flush here? That's why we add to winners. That's why we add to winners, baby. Let's go. Come on. Don't reject it this time. Flush it. There we go. All right. We'll take that. All right. Fine. I'll take that. Slight little bit of a win there. Trades 255, 300. So we're down 150 on the day. Here's probably the flush, right? So my tightness is going to get me stopped here. Really what I wanted to do is going to be my downfall for the day. There's the flush that I wanted to get. That's where I would have got my actual good move. Kind of the lack of conviction for me and trading, the thought of losing tilted me a bit there. Not tilted me, but it got me to get out faster than I wanted to on the ad, right? So the first one I should have left. The second one I should have trailed the tight. And then I wanted to trail one at a time, but I started grabbing both. And then once you start doing something, you're just going to keep doing it. We have now pushed below value area low. We're one good trade away from having a good day. So there's that push down. Now, could we get that rotate from here? MES short. I want to see what the tilt is. Because if we could push back above, if we can wick it and push back above, then I want to see that rotate. Come on, baby. Yeah, so this is what I want to see. I want to see this cleaned up, and then we can possibly look for that long above it. But it is a down day. NASDAQ 58% short. Fucking stunad with that. That would have ticked me for my first take profit. So then I would have been in the money, risk free with one contract at break even. I did not do what I did with that there. So, right, the ideas are right. Execution wise, kind of silly, right? If we do get this move here, it needs to be on like the other one, right? Push above, push back down, give me a wick, and then run. You know, I kind of got away from it on these two. This short would have been super to keep. The first trade of the day is the right trade at the wrong stop point and gotten really tight, right? I got super tight on the stop. But like I said, I want to be wrong quick and out. I want to be wrong quick and be done. So I don't want to be taking super full losses like I did. This first short right here where I got stopped for up $40 or whatever this little bit was. If I kept my stop above 79 and waited for the flush, never got stopped out. Obviously, you're going to take some serious heat there. But then you get that full rotation to your first target for that, and then you're pretty much done for the day. So now we flushed 26. We got that cleanup of the level that I expected. We do have to the bottom of this zone here to see what happens. If it holds and accepts, then we're going to look to see what happens there. These equities are... Microsoft has got a wick off top. Apple is strong to the downside. NVIDIA, strong to the downside. So everything is pulling down. It's not anything that's telling me, hey, look at this, we should probably go long. Microsoft was the leader to the upside, and it's still holding up there, but it's at the point of control, and it's got a couple wicks on the top. So we could be looking for that sell-off. I'm a little bit kicking myself for trailing this out because I really had no reason to. I got in, got the strong volume, got the good delta, got everything that I wanted. I added to the winner, and then I just brought it too quick, just past break even. I could have waited one more second, 2 more seconds, and then this got my flush, got my first out, and then have one runner on right now from my original entry. The one runner, I mean, even if it's from here, the runner's up. So unfortunately, I didn't let it go, and that's why I'm down. That's my bad. Still up for the week. I'm looking for that one more good entry. Looking to catch this rejection, but right now everything is super strong to the downside. If you're looking at the S&Ps on the 30, we're right at the base there. At 4,800 is a pretty key level. You go to NASDAQ, we are also at the base of that, right? That's what I was talking about here on this normal regular chart. That's the base of this zone here. So now what I'm going to be looking for, if we do get a rotation back up, is, where did my red line go? It's gone. There it is. Okay. So we're right in the middle of the overnight range, right? Like I said, this is not quite the overnight high. For me, it's the pre-market session ends at 8:29. We opened on our exact highs from the overnight. This was just a key level that I was using because of how it acted for the time after the PPI data came out. We got that rally, and then we kind of popped again. We're now fading that again here. The base of the CPI number from yesterday was down in here, so 16,900-ish. So that's that zone. That's the area of interest down below here. But then from there, you got the overnight low. But I want this zone to hold, right, because of this. Hold, break down, and then break back up again. The PPI numbers give us a little bit of a hope for a buy. So I just wanted to see if I can get a heavy short. It's really only 58% short. I want one more push down with a divergence in delta, and then we can get that long above the zone here, but I might not catch it. It might just pop. And that's only like a rotation to this 79. And we still have yet to clear out those highs from the CPI number. So it's an interesting price discovery opportunity. Waiting, patience. Kind of annoyed at that one. Really, my idea here, right? I entered on that up here, short on the rejection to push down. We pushed up a little bit. It was really based on all the equities pushing down also at the same time, right? You got, sorry, hold on a second. You have everything pushing down, NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft was at its highs and it was starting to pull off. That was that plus the delta, plus a little bit long on the tilt. Where I mean, I don't like to usually enter near VWAP, but I did. So we got short, price acted funky. Once I got the flush of this low here, I added a second contract. Was looking to take one off at this 26 level, and I decided that I was gonna paper hand it and get weak, and I moved my stop just past break even on the ad, so that really gave me profit from here to here, and then just a little small one on the ad. I just was not convinced just based on this wick. I thought maybe we were gonna start popping back up, which we did, and then I bitched out. This is what it is. But that was the trade that I needed to hold, because you get that, you secure 435 on the ad. Well, really, how it works, it's first in, first out. So you secure that first at 650, then you move, if you have to stop at break even for that one, or if you move it down as well after that breakdown, if you're here, you probably get another 400. So that's $1,000 move. Yeah, it is what it is. Now we're starting to get that push back up. Didn't quite get that secondary push down yet. We're going to look for that before we do look to any entries for our long. $10 hour coming in 50 seconds. 11 o'clock Eastern. So there's your little wick above there, maybe getting some of these stops out. Going back over to the equities, you can see the Microsoft is now pushing the highs. If it breaks the new high of the day, I could expect this NASDAQ to push up. Apple has got that long bottom tail. Amazon also has that long bottom tail. We're looking at NVIDIA. If NVIDIA is pushing, it's not quite as high, as strong right now. NVIDIA has been kind of the leader of these markets lately, but Microsoft today is looking to push its highs. So if Microsoft pushes its highs and you can get a crack above here, it might carry everything up just based on the way these this price action works. Give me that wick, and then we can look for that delta divergence, right? If we can get down to 26, the original play, right? We were going to look to get down to 26, get that wick, and then take that rally back to the upside if we fail it. Delta divergence, I want a heavier tilt to the short side. That to me will give me the little bit of a broken market idea where I can push back up, right? Another lower high, a higher low, wick, push above here, risk 230 to make rotation to the highs. $26 down to 20. That's the wick I'm looking for. Still a little heavy hit. Still, it's tilty a little. It's not tilty at all. It's just long. So people are still thinking this is going to go back to the upside, but hopefully we can get some people to get stopped out first, and then I can go long. Watch for this flush of 26. If you watch this price action and we're going to push towards lows and we're not getting anywhere near the low on the delta, good indication that there's not new sellers coming in here to get this thing pushed even further to the downside. If the tilt on top step shows me that it's going to get heavy short, then I would like to fade that idea. Although it's been a heavy downside day, I want this to be pushing. But Microsoft made new highs. It might not let this get here, right? So as Microsoft's making new highs, NASDAQ's pushing up. Microsoft, let's see what NVIDIA is doing because it's been the bottom. So now NVIDIA's pushing off its bottoms. And we got an Apple. Apple. It's also just kind of sitting there. I want that one last push down. Can't get it. This might have just been it here. Microsoft just crushing it. If Apple pops, that'll get us that next little confluence, right? Damn. That was the rotation back to VWAP that we would have taken every time. There we go. Now we're pushing up. See what happens with this level here. Delta's pushing up, price is pushing up, the equities are pushing up. I want to see what Microsoft does at the highs. Really is not got no pull off. It's pushing up really nicely. It has room to up, into that 388, 68. So it could carry some of this market up with it. This liquidity grab here down at the bottom, then get us an actual move to the upside. Didn't get the full flush of 26 to get my risk reward in line. We're still below VWAP, so trying to take along here as a silly move. Looking for this rotation back to the high of the day. If we can get that confluence in the setup, the rotation back down. I don't have the confluence yet to tell me that we're going to take this long. You can see all that chop, right? Chop, 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 chop. We stayed within this zone all night yesterday from 12 o'clock in the afternoon all the way till 5 o'clock this morning. It was between this green and this liquidity zone. So it hasn't quite picked the way that it wants to go. Could this have been the liquidity grab to rotate us back down? It could have been. Could this flush here be the one that wants us to rotate back and clean up the CPI number high, the top end of that wick? Because it's a weak high, I believe. I don't think it wants to stay up there like that. I think it wants to be retested and cleaned up a bit before it rotates back to the downside, unless, of course, it doesn't, because that's what markets do, whatever they want. Looking to see that flush of 26 and then the pop back above. Like I said, with the equities, you got Microsoft just pushing highs. Apple is still kind of dredged down, but you're getting this sort of bullish downtrend here. If this trend cracks, if we get this crack here to the upside, then this also may be off to the races, right? NVIDIA has been the leader, but it's pushing to the downside today. Might be just profit taking for the week. Apple again, just looking at that. Microsoft is just super strong today. Amazon also pushing up, looking to crack those levels. Chatting it up. Love it, Dick. I appreciate you. Looking to get this pop to the upside, but I wanted to get more confidence to the downside. This liquidity sweep here might be the only thing that I'm getting as far as the information that I have. If we do crack this trend line to this side, above VWAP, above 79, you could look to clear out the highs of the day. I didn't get the entry that I want for this as far as that secondary sweep of the 26 level, but if you're looking to play a trend line crack, you could do that here. If you get the confluences from the heavily weighted index, stocks that are on the index, you got, like I said, Amazon, Microsoft has been pushing highs. It's been leading us up. Apple is also looking to crack that trend line to the upside. So if Apple cracks here and we get the crack above, then you can get that confluence and you can push it right back to the highs. I think Apple's looking to crack right now, so we're above VWAP. We're looking to see if we can actually crack this. So I may look to even take a long, but I really don't like trading around VWAP. That's just my thing, personally. All right, let's see. We'll play this as a trendline break with the Apple confluence. Let's see what we can get here. The close of yesterday is going to be my stop, 58. If we can get that follow through with Apple, then we could probably continue to get the follow through here, right? Apple's looking to crack it and run. We're going to look to crack it and run here. Let's see how far we can push to the upside. I want to see what happens at 79 on the NQs. 79 on the NQs will be the push that I'm looking for. If you crack 79s and you accept above, look out for the high of value, which is 993. And then obviously, like you said, targets, if you can get this full push, Apple's pushing. If Microsoft can keep pushing to the highs, Microsoft still pushing highs. Everything on the indexes that are, this NASDAQ index is heavily weighted by Microsoft, Apple, Google, right? Amazon. All those are what I'm looking for here to carry this NASDAQ trade to the highs. If Microsoft is pushing new highs, Apple is going to follow. If it does follow, then you're going to get this. So since we're getting close to 79, I'm going to move my stop closer to break even once it cracks it, because I want to see that be the ignition point, right? 79 is my ignition point for a decent push to the upside, and then to 993. There we go. Free trade for me. I am free and clear with this one. Now it's just how much money can I make on it. Deck always talks about it. He stepped into the chat. He talks about trend line breaks, but when you get confluence is what you need, right? You need multiple pieces of information to help you make your trade and to help you push to new highs and all that, right? So now we're looking to keep going to the upside. If we can crack 79 and push, then I want it to be to 993. And if we get to 993, then I'm looking even further up. Like I said, I want that rotation back to the highs. Do I think I'm going to get the whole move? No, that's not how I trade. If we fail 79, then I'm out probably, right? Because it's going to roll back down to VWAP. But to me, I think right here, right now is our line in the sand. This is where I'm going to get to be able to make my money for the day or not. It is Friday. This push here is getting me that little confluence. I'm going to trail it below this ignition candle. Here we go. 79 was the ignition point. Now we're going to get to 93 and up to the highs. Let's see if we can crack the highs. If we can get above 17,000. If we hold 93s is where I am looking to see. Come on. Well, tilt is heavy long now, so we might get stopped out on that, right? But hey, we're looking to hold this 79. If we can hold 79, I am going to be a happy camper here. It's going to fade me out, possibly go back down to VWAP and then run. That's fine with me too. Either way, I am following my rules as far as trailing this out. The futures do whatever they want, whenever they want. I'm looking for this Microsoft confluence. Microsoft selling a bit at the top here. Apple is not quite participating in a strong push. 79 is going to fail, and there it goes. Failed at 79. We are out. And we're up a solid $5 on the day after being down 4 and change, so can't be mad at that. That was the trade that you want to take there every time. Realistically, I should have had the Apple chart up. Probably could still get that run up to the highs. However, with the tilt coming in hot, Apple not quite playing along with the big break, and then Microsoft fading the highs, that's going to make you get stopped out on these kind of trades, right? Especially because my first target was 79, then 93. Once I crack this and you're holding up, in this above this low liquidity zone, this low volume area, I can trail there. I'm cool with that. That's what I did. So you secure that one, then you look for the next move, and then as it kind of progresses in your way, then you can kind of trail just based on your confluences, right? So alerted that, took the trade just to show you that it does happen pretty frequently. Now you're getting that roll back down. Now you're going to see what happens as far as with all these other numbers, right? Microsoft's fading the highs. Apple, my fingers aren't working, is retesting the trend line. If you get a hold of this now, and we're above VWAP on NASDAQ, could this next break of 79 now be the true actual move? We have to wait and see, right? My thought process realistically was the long down here, right? I was talking it out the whole time. I didn't get that final piece of confluence here. What I should have been doing is getting that Microsoft data into me a little bit sooner. I think this Microsoft data pushing new highs and the NASDAQ pushing lows here should have been my indication to forget about that secondary flush of 26 and take the long above this 35. Because once you get here, honestly, I get the breakout. I have no reason to be out. Pushing up to VWAP, that's usually my first target, and then up and beyond. Since we had this trend line here and the possible break of that trend line for Apple as well, that would have also led me to kind of hold and be able to be in this trade a little bit longer. Trade management is pretty huge for me. everybody can get in and get out of trades. Entries is pretty much the easiest part of this. It's figuring out when you're going to be wrong, when you need to take your profits, when you don't need to take your profits. So right now, I believe Apple is still holding that trend line. Microsoft has been the leader all day, is still pushing to the downside. So taking the long, the break above 79 with Microsoft, who was the leader all day, now pushing to the downside, doesn't make sense to me, right? You need to have that idea, right? Okay, what is the NASDAQ? This is how you think this through. What is the NASDAQ? NASDAQ is the 100 top stocks, heavily weighted with tech stocks. The weighting on NASDAQ is 55% on seven names. I think it's Google, Microsoft, Nvidia, Apple, Amazon. So these are the names that you have to be looking at. These are the names that are going to carry this market. Look at that, Nvidia off the bottom, right? If Nvidia cracks this now, it's been leading a lot of late, right? If this cracks here, this trend line, this little flag pattern here, you can get that move pushing up here. And if you get Microsoft to play along and Apple to play along, then you're going to be looking to see this NASDAQ also play along, right? A lot of people say, as far as futures are concerned, because this is the futures, this isn't just the index, right? Who leads? Does the index lead or do the equities lead? And I think some days it's one way, some days it's the other. You just have to figure out which one, the type of day it is. I don't think it's really as like cut and dry as if Microsoft goes up, that NASDAQ's going to go up. That's not how this works. But now Microsoft is pushing a bit. It's not quite finishing the sell-off. The breakout point from it before was the value area high on it, 387.28. So it's pushing. We're getting that next little leg up here. It looks like cracking that 79 level. 93 was my first little point of a target, which was the opening range low. Then if we get an accept above there, obviously above 17,000, that's the value area high and into the opening range high. So if you didn't get trailed out like I did, if you still you're like a break-even trader where you just enter your entry, set your stop at, wherever you were wrong, right? I said it at yesterday's close. I would never have gotten out of this trade if I just left the risk there if I'm looking for this entire move. But based on the way the equities have been acting today, right? You get a move, a fade, a move, a fade, a move, a fade. This could have been obviously the move that you're looking for, obviously the full rotation to the high. But, you can't play butts. You got to trail to your rules. And my rules tell me, okay, we're getting close, trail it down. Obviously, with the weakness in Microsoft, take your profits, take your money. Can't be mad about taking a trade that gives you, $175. Trade before gave you $255. If you take those base hits, and you trail out properly, and you do the same trail every time, one of them is going to be your home run. Then that'll add up, and you'll be able to be successful. But if you let this thing, that's a winner, that's $300 in the money, come back down and stop you out for a break even or a loss, that's a killer, man, right? Doesn't that hurt? Unless you're up on the day or whatever your thought process is, where your trail rules may have changed, where you're thinking, hey, all right, I'm just going to set it at break even and let my thesis play out, then that's on you. You could do that. But I was down. I'm looking to get back to break even. I'm looking to secure my profits and get to a point where the week is still a really solid week one of trading for streaming every day. So we're pretty excited here. Pretty excited. Looking for that one more trade. Like honestly, that's 93, right? You ran into it, and that's the immediate spot where you're going to get some resistance. I don't have a trade at these locations. Okay, so if Microsoft cracks the highs and we're pushing back down towards below 79, then maybe that's a divergence that I can play there. You get, a push down here. You don't quite crack the lows in the delta. The tilt over there on top step looking heavy long. So if you get down here and you get a heavy short, but then you have Microsoft push up, that's something that you want to watch and see, right? Microsoft is kind of ticking up while the NASDAQ is ticking down. that secondary break, if that's what you took also, the breakout from 79, since that was the key line in the sand from the overnight session, you take it to that 93 level, like I said. That's a pretty good one, more than a 1-to-1, a little bit more than 1-to-1. Nice little base hit. I'm still torn. I'm far from perfect, obviously. I'm still torn personally on whether I want to take targets and just start taking them off every time I hit those targets, because my levels have been pretty good, right? Spot on as far as I'm concerned, as breakout points, target points, places where I want to get in, places where I want to get out. Do I start just setting take profits and seeing how profitable that becomes, or do I keep with my trailing rules and catching my base hits as they come and looking for that home run? If I do my targets, I'm never going to catch that home run. And every trader is looking to catch at least a couple of them. You're not saying that you're trying to swing for them all the time, but every trade you enter has the possibility to be that one that runs on you, right? Like if I would have entered down here and you trail according to your rules, maybe you're still in this. You probably could have stopped out at 79 here, honestly, no matter what. So even if I took this, it's a good 850 on a trade, right? Not a home run, but not anything to shy away from. So do I set targets? Do I trail? That's the constant battle that I have every single day, and I think that happens to everybody. Realistically, I'm going to stick with the trailing. I may open another combine here and walk people through it. And as I walk people through it, I may use those adjustments that I'm thinking about as far as, hey, let me just set a stop, set a target, and let it fill every time. And if that works for me in there, then I may adapt it into my live funded account here. But that's something I want to practice elsewhere before I put it into actual practice. So that's something I think you should think about. If that's your style and it works for you, that's great. I love it. Consistent profits every single day is what you're looking for. This week today would be my first actual losing day because of fees, because I'm up $5, but obviously fees I'm not quite up. I'm down $20 or whatever it is, under $20. It's a break-even day, right? So, but statistically it would be a loser if I don't catch one more trade for the day. I think I'm going to get one more. I'm feeling that price is going to play along with me. I'll get one more. I'll get that next winner and then walk away with a solid week. But right now, I am looking at this to fail here because it's just not following through with the gusto that it should, right? We got that whip up to 93. Now we're going to fail 79 again. What is Microsoft doing? Microsoft is pushing to the downside. If Microsoft pushes to the downside, it's going to carry this market down with it, where we are right now. So let's look for a divergence here. We actually probably would have got it right the candle before. We're above VWAP, and pretty tight to VWAP as well, right? So that's a very difficult short to take because it loves to hold as support or act as resistance. And for me, for that one last trade of the day, for it to be a short above VWAP, it's got to be a short above VWAP at a high, either at the high of the day or at a key level like the 714, 715 level here, then rotate back down to it. But to take a short just above it and expect it to actually have that great push down through it is something that doesn't work for my emotional capacities. I can't deal with the chop that's going to occur at VWAP if that's what I'm thinking. Hey, if it's shorts and it rips right through, good for it, right? But you see, like I said, Microsoft is pushing down still. It's acting as support here at 387.45. Apple also pushing down, but still holding above that trend breakout. We got NVIDIA looking to try and break out from that spot. So these are the things you got to think about, right? If one thing's going to break out, it's still weighted. Those three lines there. Okay. So if NVIDIA wants to break out, then it might have room to the highs at 549, 550, and who knows? NVIDIA does what it wants to do. Microsoft probably will follow, but it's still pushing down a bit. When I fail a level too close to VWAP, I can't take that short. And as you can see, it's acting. It's not quite at VWAP, right? But it is close enough where it's acting as a place where it's going to act as resistance, a zone that's going to act as resistance. 79 here, that little tick above could be the idea to go flush it. If you're not concerned about VWAP, then be mindful. Microsoft looking kind of like it wants to do some sort of bull flag here or whatever you call it. Like I said, I'm not a big chart pattern person, but if that does break, then you could look to see the crack and continuation for everything. Apple now looking to push up as well. Nvidia sitting below it, sitting right at it. This could be it's such a battleground at this 79 level here. Buying above VWAP always seems to be pretty good. Pushing up to the upside now. 71% longs, which is concerning for this to be a convincing move unless they're all watching the equities and that's their idea. When it's that long, that tilty at this level right here, 93, you're going to look to see that pullback happen a little bit. 68, 69, 70% long. Yes, you might get that first breakout to the 17,000 level. That's something that I might look at, right? If Apple is still pushing too. Nvidia still doesn't quite want to crack up yet. Above that range from the overnight session. It held this pretty strong here, which is good. That's no longer a concern of mine. Maybe I'll go here with it. This crack, I'm not huge into trend lines. Like I do use them pretty frequently, more so as that final extra added layer of, hey, let's enter here or whatever. But the reason this plays is because it plays along with all these other equities, right? NVIDIA. I traded it off of Apple's break because Apple tends to be an indicator here of this NASDAQ market. And obviously, because that was there and Microsoft was pushing the highs, you got that breakout, right? I would love to see this kind of flush again, 79s. Then you can maybe look to get along off of that if you can get the break of the Apples, the Microsofts, and the Nvidias. Really the players today. Amazon working to push itself back to the highs as well if it can. If Microsoft can, if Amazon can break above 155, 1737, 155.37. Then the rest of the market, everything is bullish. Microsoft 10:28. My stream usually goes to 11. Today I am probably gonna likely just go to 11. I do have work on Fridays. Like I said, Tuesdays and Wednesdays is my days off. I'm hoping to make this a full-time thing. And even then, if I'm out here, if I'm streaming, it's going to be mainly get those trades in by 11 o'clock Central Time. If I do come on for the afternoon session, the close, I do like to do that time to time. I have a lot of success on the close or in through imbalances, but I'm not able to trade those every day. And going through this week and going through, building up this funded account, building up the stream, all that stuff, I want to be able to make sure that I do everything correctly and kind of do this slow and steady and really build it the correct way. So coming in, trying to rush some trades in the afternoon just to do it, it's not conducive. And I'm also working on a side business here that I'm looking to launch out along with our launch on the 22nd here at Tradecaster. So that'd be really cool. I have to wait and see what's going on with that. Just working on a few things on the back end of it. I think it's going to be really cool. Something that, as far as our community is concerned, hasn't been tapped. So I'm pretty excited for it. Looking at the market here, we have flattened out on our delta. The tilt on the micros is 70% long, so that doesn't really help me on this, but it does give you a little bit of indication. Microsoft did crack to push to the upside, but it's not like a super strong move. Apple is fading. Nvidia is also fading. So if we do get a crack down below 79 and these do fade a bit, then maybe we do get that return back down, and who knows, how low we can actually go. But as of right now, everything's still strong enough to tell me not to short. Nvidia rejected that pretty good. Softy's rejecting, Apple's rejecting. That roll over there is pretty good. Let's go for it. Let's take one on this. I'm gonna be quick with this. If it wants to run, it runs, but I'm gonna be quick to trail this tight, especially if we get close to VWAP. This is the confluence I'm looking for as far as all the heavily weighted assets in here were also pushing to the downside, right? So Apple pushing down, Microsoft pushing down, Nvidia pushing down. So those confluences are things that are going to help you make your decisions here, right? I said I don't like to go short above VWAP, but at key levels and with that confluence, it's very hard to avoid this trade. It made me take the trade. I didn't take it. The trade took itself. And I'm going to take it down as tight to VWAP as possible with the trail. I don't want to get, I get wicked out. It's fine. I'm back to break even for the day. These wicks, I don't like to play with. Those bounces, I want that to happen. I want it to happen fast. It didn't happen fast. It happened good. I mean, maybe you take profits at the bottom of it, but that's not the risk to reward I'm looking for, right? If I'm risking above this sort of area here, it's 160 to 120, it's not even 1 to 1. That's why I get to break even, because if it doesn't get that full fail fast, especially above VWAP, you can look to get another rotation back above it. Does it hold? Maybe. Does it stop me out if I don't? Probably, right? I know if I'm wrong quick, the way these charts act, right? I'm in tune. That's why I go to the 1 minute, because I'm in tune with these. It shakes me out sometimes a little bit quick, but moves like that, I could tell by the behavior of the candle and the speed of everything what it wants to do more than likely, right? So that Nvidia pushed down, but look at that. It's bouncing right now. Microsoft, it's holding that trend line. It is still trying to push down a bit, but it's holding that trend line. Apple also holding that trend line, that wick down. So now we could possibly look, all right, I took the chance at the short only because it forced my hand. And if I'm quick with the move the stop break, get this shit free. This is a free trade. If it runs down, it's great. But the only time I take these where I'm quick with this, right? That being wrong, right? I'm above VWAP. It's part of my confluence that's not quite great. Will it flush now? Possibly. And this could be it, but I'm not going to take that second entry on it right this second just because, right? Just because I got stopped out, I don't want to take this second entry. this is probably the right move now. This will probably get the VWAP, but if it doesn't, it doesn't. You know, it is what it is. I got out because of rules. I would have been stopped, possibly. You know, yeah, I would have been stopped out by probably a tick on that, and then roll over, right? So that's the way I think of these. For the above the VWAP, trying to get just the retracement to VWAP as your target. I know I set the take profit down here, but that's just in case this thing melts and you get filled on that. I'll take that fill every day on a big, hard meltdown. But those confluences disappeared just as fast as they showed their hands, right? That push down, didn't sustain on that one candle, and I don't like it. So back to break even on the day, 661. Really, I mean, I'm a solid up $25 minus fees. So break even on the day. After taking one short where I was up 40 and got tickled out, that was everything around VWAP. I can't hold long. It's very difficult for me just because of the idea that it wants to kind of be a magnet, right? So I didn't hold that one. Tried to get short on the breakdown. Got stopped out for that one. That was my kind of oversized loss here. I didn't want to take that kind of loss. Really should have had my stop pretty tight and got stopped out and been wrong. But that's my bad on the stop location. Ended up coming up. Took the short again on the confluences, on the delta divergence, being below VWAP this time. Added to the winner and then got tickled out. This was the one where I really didn't play my plan properly, right? Thinking back on it, should have the initial stop at break even for the first entry, and if this one wants to be a full risk, leave that stop there. Never would have even come close because I had to take profit for one of the contracts down here. Once that gets hit, I could move that stop down to the entry of the second entry to break even and then see where this ends up. Obviously, once we flush the bottom, my key point was that 26, so I probably would have just been able all out right there with two contracts, 410 per contract. Well, realistically, it's $1,000 trade because it's 600 and change from the top, 400 and change from there. That's what that would have been. If you properly manage that position, that's where you're at. Here, okay, now we're getting that sell off. I know I'm talking about it, but gave you a little sneak peek there of what was going on. I don't know where my charts went. There it is. Apple is now pushing back to the downside. Microsoft, I'm sure, is as well. Yep, Microsoft pushing down. Nvidia also probably dragging us down. And Amazon also now to the downside. So that short play was the right move. I moved to stop, break even, because of the VWAP being there and acting as my nemesis. Another just tight butthole kind of trade. No other way to describe it. No other way to describe that. But I think for real, the way I talked it out and the way I had my thesis on it, that's the only way I could have executed that. Does this rollover for real now is the question, or are we just going to stay in this range for the foreseeable rest of the day? The 26, is this my entry here at the 26? We will wait and see. I can't take it on this kind of candle though, right? We're not going to try and catch a bounce where it's just down up, right? That happens. It happened here. It happened here. I need it to show me another confluence on these reversal trades, because otherwise you get in this, you get run over. You get in this, you get run over. The times you don't take it, that's when it V bottoms, right? So here we go. I mean, that was a great execution. Entry didn't quite leave the stop. It should have just left it there. I kind of have to wait for one more breakdown from those equities. Then we would have been pretty golden. Stop above there. Would have actually ended up getting triggered on the take profit. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. hopefully somebody took it. Somebody held it. You know, I'm talking through these levels. I'm talking myself out of some of them, but hopefully I can talk you guys into some. There's that liquidity zone at 26. I want to see this not be the immediate V bottom. I want another kind of flush of it and then a divergence on the delta. These are the kinds of shorts that I love, or entries really. 1, 2, 3 minutes later than I took this, right? That's how you can tell trading is all timing, and then having the balls to hold at your original stop or accept certain risk and then take it, right? This is just a bit much risk for the Friday, right? The day of the week matters to me. It really does. I've gotten in so much heat historically on Fridays trying to short markets when they're kind of ranging, and then every time, bang, you're getting snacked and losing some good trades, taking full losses, and then getting angry on a Friday and then having a shit weekend because of it, right? I love trading. I love the charts. I don't like weekends, you know, because I don't get to see what's going on. Here we go, right? This is what I'm looking for. This is what I was looking for over here. I want this to break lower without the delta breaking lower. If we can get closer to 26, the delta is going to get a little lower. We're going to look at the tilt. If we can get a heavier short down here around the 26s, then I can take the entry above here and then look for that return to VWAP. And that could be my convincing move, right? Because it is a pretty range-bound day. What is convincing me that this is going to follow through to the downside? Not much other than the equities also rolling to their support. They're at their support. Amazon's at its support. Apple is at its support. And Microsoft, the leader of the day, it's back down below its breakout point. So if it does return back above it, then maybe you could see that return, right? But we have this trend here. My fingers won't let go, so we're down there. Give me that divergence. Okay, here's that divergence kind of playing out. We're not making new lows. We're trying to push down. If we get down in here, and this kind of gives me one of these big guys, I'm not convinced. But if I get a little bit of a wick here and this kind of pushes down and my tilt is heavy short, like right now the shorts 57%, so it's getting heavier. I want to maybe think that they're thinking that retail is looking to get short at 34 and the house wants to take their money. So if the retail wants to get short at 34, the breakdown here, then maybe the tilt will get higher. The delta is trying to push lower, but now we're pushing up. Like, you know, we're at like a base here. It is a downtrending type of day, but also we've been ranging as well. So we're below VWAP. The trade is return to VWAP and beyond. If you can hold it and manage it and trail it out appropriately, I'm looking for one good trade. That is it. One good trade. What's Microsoft doing? Microsoft's been my guy today. It's holding its little downtrend. I mean, a little uptrend. Okay, there we go. It's pushing up. Delta's pushing up. Still didn't get that flush to the downside that I've constantly looked for on these. This wick is beautiful, but I want another one. And I'm not talking like double bottom type deal. And there's your crack of this trend. Push back to the upside. My guess is Microsoft is also rejecting its uptrend here. And Apple is also. Nope, Apple's pushing down still. Interesting. It's sitting at its base though. If one of these falls out of bed, then you're going to get this continuation. I need to get a couple of charts here into this. Microsoft, Apple. Microsoft and Apple are up there. Ow! Can't wait for the deck. Ow! Love it. Cannot wait. All because of the deck, man. Making this platform useful and trader friendly and all that. If you're on YouTube, don't be afraid to swing on over. My stream is free, so can't hurt. Can't hurt. Microsoft is trying to push down through this trend, and Apple is now breaking its support. So this potential breakout here is not likely to follow through if that's what you're looking for at this moment. I will look to see if we get a divergence. However, I think that we're going to get this delta to push down. January 22nd, 2024 is our official Tradecaster launch over at Tradecaster. I put the link in the YouTube. It's in my stream information as well as the chat over there. I'm loving this Tradecaster. I have no complaints about it. I'm going to show you this Tradecaster screen real quick since I'm not going to enter a trade right now. It's got you a chart that you can add whatever you like here. It changes by you, not by me, right? So this is all set up for the user. Stream here, chat, and I do alert some things. I got some stream information top left, obviously some of my information there. We got everything you could need. I'm going to manipulate this a bit. You got a notepad. You can type yourself some notes. Stream info in my bio. I think I'm going to update some of these, probably the times of days, some of that stuff up there. Just as it goes along. We're using these 2 weeks as kind of a debug period. You can always go over to the lobbies if you're bored of me. I'm pretty boring sometimes when I'm looking for trades that aren't happening. I try to talk through some education while I'm doing it, but if you're bored and you want to get over, check out Deck. Deck is the man, the myth, the legend. Crushing 2024 so far. He's doing, at the moment, options, I believe, but he likes penny stocks, trend lines, shorten, all that stuff. AK-47, active trader, Mamba trader. This guy over here, the Reason, also is trading futures. So if I'm not getting you the futures that you want, head over to the Reason. I'm a team player, so let's make sure we get over there and check it out. Like I said, it's going to ask you for a card or whatever. Just do the 7-day free trial. If it expires, I'm going to be free, so you can always come over to me, watch me, and see what I'm all about. And until then, we're going to go back to the charts. And I'm looking for that push, but I'm not quite getting all the confluences that I want, right? We're just sitting here at this level, and it's not like, it's Friday, right? It's Friday. It's the first real full week. We got Apple sitting at the support. It wants to kind of hold, it appears right now, inside of value, but now we're getting a little bit of a tick down. If Microsoft does crack this trend line to the bottom side, then you could look to see if this short will actually play out here. A flush of the 26s. The 42s was the key line in the sand, but at the moment, I really do feel like this liquidity zone here is more important. It was important. 42 was important here when I took that stupid trade. That was just chasing it a little bit. Got to wait for that confluence. If I could teach you anything, I want to hope that I can teach you patience, because my biggest issue has always been patience. And if you can only take one trade in a day, make it that top execution that you can, right? And manage it to the best you can at that time. Every trade is going to, as soon as you're in it, it's going to become emotional. It's how you manage those emotions that's going to keep you in, out, manage the trade properly, and position size, right? Don't oversize, don't go crazy. If your account size can handle it, then then go big. But if your account size can't handle it, and if your one loss is going to bring you down to 50% of your account balance or more, 20%. I mean, people aren't risking that much on trades. The successful traders aren't risking their whole account on every single trade. That's gambling, right? Because no matter how good your setup is, no setup is 100%. And if it was, then that person is keeping that setup a really good secret. So we're watching for divergences in delta. For a reversal, we're looking for confluence from these equities in Microsoft and Apple to tell us if they want to break down or if they want to sort of use this as resistance, right? What I've been seeing today is Microsoft has been the ultimate leader as far as pulling the market in certain directions. We did break highs earlier, and the market was still at lows. So that confluence there, being at the lows and Microsoft pushing highs, should tell you a little something that maybe that this is the Nasdaq's lagging today. So I'm going to watch for if Microsoft can get a pop and I get a little push down in the equities and get a divergence there, as well as the divergence on my my delta, then I may look to get a nice little reversion back to at least VWAP and beyond. Good morning, Charting Green. Good morning. I want to see that Microsoft push up a bit, and then I also want to see the Nasdaq push down some. I know that's kind of counterintuitive, but like I said, like just a few minutes ago, with Microsoft being the leader earlier today, sort of lines up here. This is a 5, but let's see if the times can line up a bit. Over here, we were pushing lows, and Microsoft was threatening pushing highs, because that's really more around that time. What time is this? This is at exactly 9:53. 9:53, and 9:53 is that candle there. Okay, so the bottom here, I'm going to try and line it up a bit. It is not quite off. 9:53 is here, and it's this candle starts it, right? We're pushing these lows, and Microsoft's starting to creep higher and higher and higher. It's leading the way. It breaks the highs. We're still down here at the lows. My thought process earlier was looking for divergence on the delta. So I was looking for a flush of 26, divergence on delta to push to the upside. We never quite got there because of the way Microsoft was pushing these highs. It broke the high of the day, and it pushed with good volume, right? And then as this was pushing higher, then you get Apple pushing higher. Then it broke through its little trend line. That's when we had this drawn up here, but it was down, and we took that entry, and it was late. We did catch a little piece of it. However, hindsight being 2020 and looking at this setup again, if I did have my Microsoft chart up, then maybe I would have been able to catch that. So now we're getting a push down. What's Microsoft doing right now? Microsoft's breaking the bottom. So Microsoft's breaking down. It's not giving me the divergence. It's actually giving me confluence that this sell is caused by something other than just selling, no volume or anything like that. I do have a delta divergence, which is my thing, where I'm looking for 26 to get flushed. So if 26 gets flushed, we do have a little bit short bias on the tilt. If that level 26 does get flushed and Microsoft can get a pop back above from if it leads the way up a little bit, then I can take that reversal. But if Microsoft continues its downside pressure, if Microsoft breaks down 386, it's probably going to roll over anyway, and then we're going to continue this downside and clean up some of this mess from the overnight. The overnight lows never got checked. The overnight highs we sat at for a bit. The overnight highs pretty much was the open. That's this green line normally is the overnight high. However, it was just more of a key point prior to market opening, and I use that more so than the actual high. If the high is where we're opening at, like if we open at the high, I know where it is. It's the open of the day. It's there. It's not going to go away. So then I use that high of the day, or if we're opening at the low, I use the low of the day as a key point, right? So Microsoft still kind of just holding Can I get this on a 1? Okay, Microsoft looking to maybe push back above it. Okay, Microsoft still holding down below its little uptrend. That initial breakdown point on Microsoft was 386.73. Here, that's where we're at right there. Coming up on the 11 o'clock hour, like I said, I usually stream 8 to 11. I like the price action at the price point we're at, so I may push past till 11:15, 11:30, but no later than that since I do have work today. Kids are sick and I'm trying to figure that out. Microsoft's now looking to push to the downside a bit. If it recovers, it's been my leader. If Microsoft can lead me back up above that trend, back above that break, and I'm getting a little bit of divergence here, right? They're acting confident right now, but my delta is not telling me that the indices, my futures, want to break down. My delta is telling me they haven't made a decision yet, right? It's flat, it's flat, it's flat. We're kind of trying to make new lows, but it's basing, right? If we do break down, I do expect this delta to push a bit lower, but that's not quite like a full-blown confluence here because it's been so long and we've been basing so long, and due to Microsoft, because Microsoft has been leading and now is pushing down harder. So if you do get a breakdown here, I could expect this breakdown to actually play out if Microsoft does continue to do its sell-side move down below 386.26. You should probably rotate back to the overnight low. Microsoft's breaking down. I would love to see that. Like, my original thought process is, hey, this might be the reversion, but the 30-minute is telling me something different, right? Look at that big, strong 30-minute candle push to the downside. 916 is possible to be that breakdown point down to 885, or even to the overnight low there at 866. Back to the main screen. It's just not a convincing breakdown, right? Like, there's no... If you wanted to take this short, right, and you think a lot of people want to take this short, wouldn't you think once we break this level, we're going to push, it's going to be hard, like there's going to be like an actual bit of selling pressure going? That's not happening, right? But also at the same time, if you think this is going to be a rejection point, don't you want to flush? Don't you want to see price get sucked up and then wrap back on? So right now we're in a liquidity zone. It's not like a super convincing move. The only thing that is sort of convincing is when it does grind like this, either up or down, it tends to kind of continue on for a little bit until it gathers a bit more information. And the information that we're having is Microsoft. And Microsoft's getting a little bit pop. We got a little flush. I don't know if I got short tilt. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it wants to stay short. I think we want to stay range bound today. I want to cheat on it a bit. NASDAQ heavy short. All right, fuck it. Let's do this. Let's enter market here. Stop's gonna be low. If it flushes, it flushes. It is what it is. I'm taking this based on the lack of selling at the bottom. Let's see what Microsoft's doing. If Microsoft can pop back up and give me a little bit of a little pop, then my trade will pop. Right? We took the short based on the Microsoft short. We're taking the long based on the lack of follow through on the Microsoft sell through the bottom end of the trend line. I want to get a return from Microsoft back to 387-ish where it can retest, and then if it reaccepts, then you could get a good follow through on the equity side. Apple also rejected the bottom, so that's also another confluence, and we didn't get that flush. I mean, like I said, we didn't get a flush. We got a little bit of a divergence in the delta. And my original thought was we're going to go long from here. So once I didn't get that real hard sell, then That's why I want to go long. Really, if it flushes the bottom here, I'm willing to take that risk just because that's really where my thought processes were at. Microsoft now wants to push down thanks to my entry, right? That's always what you think. Every time you get into something, you think that you're moving stuff. I want this rejection to be quick. If I can get above 42, that should accelerate this, but it looks like things want to push down to the downside. Yeah, possibly going to be that's going to be the loss for... Do I want to cut this now? Microsoft wants to push to the downside. 383, 641. If it cracks down, then we're going to possibly look to get out of this. But it's holding. Apple's holding. Microsoft not making a decision yet. If Microsoft flushes first, I'm going to flatten this before I get to my stop. But it's holding right now. So Apple's also pushing up a bit on the 5. There we go. Apple's pushing a little. If I can get Apple to get a pop, Microsoft hopefully can push also. But it's pushing down. They're fighting each other. It's really a very indecisive point here. It's a liquidity zone. Looking to just catch a little piece of this, pop to the upside. Tight risk on it. Because if we do flush it, we're probably going to flush and sell hard, right? It's not moving either way like I wanted it to, so we possibly are going to go sell side now. There's Apple and Microsoft both looking to go downside, so we're probably going to sell off. Come on, baby. Push up. Let me get the rejection that I was looking at before. See, the Delta's just not doing anything. We're getting no convincing Delta move here. NASDAQ short 56%. Not going to get it. Not going to get it probably here. If we do get the flush, it's probably going to do what we want to do like we did before, right? It's going to flush now and then rotate back to the other side. So I'm out. Alrighty. Kind of at 11 o'clock there, right on the nose. Microsoft pushed down. So that's what got us out. You can see we were getting that little bit of a rejection of the bottom half. We were trying to re-accept back to the base. And Apple was holding the bottom. And that's what tried to help me stay in this. But really, it's just heavy at this point. No real good pressure, though, on this NASDAQ. So it feels like it wants to hold. Look at that base of Delta. Can we get this breakout here? Can this be the breakout point now? Is this the point where we got the shorts involved? How do I get this out of here? I don't know. There we go. This is... Do you take one more shot at it? Or do you let the rollover happen? I'm getting Delta divergence crazy. Heavy short tilt. I feel like a pop wants to go down, and I'm going to set this here, and if it does pop, I don't want to miss it because I feel like we can get that little bit of the kick, get us back above, and just based on the divergences that we're getting in this liquidity zone, just want this pop to give me just something quick in and out. Quick in and out here. Fridays love to chop me up. I know it, but I still do it. Do it for the game. Love of the game, baby. This is irrelevant now. We're not playing with that. We're playing with the divergence. There we go. Microsoft pushing down. It did crack that 386.25, 25, 27. But that's the top of this little support area. So could we get the rotation from here on Microsoft that gives us that slight little pop? Apple at the bottom, at the base. Was there enough information today that wants us to drive down to the lows? Currently, I don't have that information. And my original plan was to take the long off of this 26 on a divergence, and I'm getting that divergence. So therefore, that's why I would like to try this second entry onto it and see what happens. But realistically, it's just kind of grinding down. Like I said, the grind down is different than the whippy action of a liquidity grab. But I hate shorting slow markets too. So it's a give and take here, right? We get that pop right now where we break out, right? Like this is that little tiny little wedge there. Not like for anything crazy. I would like my first target to be, if we do break out above, to VWAP and to 79 as a range bound type of trade. The heaviness is not playing into my favor. Microsoft now looking to reverse, and I'm gonna take this if it gets, obviously if it cracks. So let's see what happens with it. Watching Microsoft, watching Apple. Apple at point of control. Didn't quite break, and there's the entry one more time. No FOMO, just the idea that we got the divergence that we were looking for. New lows from here, higher lows on the delta. I want to get it back to VWAP. If we get to 42, that's when I go to break even. And from 42 and beyond, you got to look for the breakout above there. If this is just a liquidity grab above, it is what it is, and that's on me. I'm going to use this, but on a different screen, sorry. Come on, baby. Give me that push up. Microsoft pushing. I need Apple to give me a little pop, help this along a bit. Above its point of control now. Apple is. Microsoft is pushing back. I wanted to get to the 387s. Hopefully it's catching a little resistance at the base of the breakdown. 386.55. People are shorting there. The shorts coming in. Shorts are coming in. Shorts are coming in. My divergence is still there on my delta. I don't want to get shaken out, but I also don't want to take a full loss here. So below my 26 level is my out, because if we flush this, we're going to probably flush my original stop anyway, right? And that's my real risk tolerance on $100 bucks. I'll risk $100 bucks to come back up here and tickle onto the VWAP. We're still in the green. Microsoft is pushing down a bit. Apple is rejecting its point of control. Nah, it's rejecting it now. Come on, baby. Let's get a push to the upside. If we break out above this candle here, that's my sign to go to break even. I know it was 42 originally, but the way the price action is reacting is not conducive, right? Like my 26 level is that flush point right below this candle here. Because if it does flush that, then it's likely to continue to flush. Fucking Microsoft's not playing along now. Doesn't want to play with me today. All right, this is likely to fail. Microsoft's selling, Apple's selling, so we're going to be stopped out here. There we are, stopped out again, back-to-back stop outs, 430 down. Look for one more. Not that I'm trying to lose it all. I'm trying to just battle on a Friday here. Was that tick out? damn, oh damn. Unfortunate there. Still up for the week, 200. So, like I said, I'm not trying to lose it all and be negative for the week. I would like to be green weeks, build up green months, and go from there. You know, you take the risk you're willing to take, and now Microsoft is pushing up. So I'm getting a little choppy here, not quite conducive to where I want to be. We're just not, you know what? We're not getting that follow through, but we also are not getting the follow to the downside. Give me that. Microsoft just popped up, so we're going to go value area low. We're not getting stopped on that one. We're going to crack above that point there, and then it's break even for me. Delta's pushing up, so I like the Delta how it is. I like that. I'm gonna leave that there for a second. Can I get back to here? I need Delta to keep pushing up to the upside. Give me those strong pushes. I need Apple and Microsoft to play along with me. Microsoft, again, hitting that resistance. It gapped up there and then it sold a bit. So it's quite interesting. I'm using TradingView, so I'm not getting like that real-time live data feed of my Microsoft. I'm using like the general theme of that it's not quite selling off how it should be if it were to be melting, and I want to just get a return back to the breakdown point. And if I can do that, then Apple should follow and NASDAQ should follow, right? And my divergence on my NASDAQ only, if I'm just only using NASDAQ, it's not making new lows, and the delta's pushing up. And the tilt was a little high on the short side, so that's why I got back in again. If we can crack above here again, hopefully we can get them flushed up to the upside, maybe a good wick. If we could see a push above 40, then 42 should be incoming, and then that's the point of will we continue this breakout or not. So above that wick, I would really like it to get above that wick there so I can get the break even. I don't want to shake myself out of this. It's dancing. All right, there we go. Break even. So we're free on this trade. I really want to let it try and play above 42. If it can get there. If we can get it at to 42, then I'm going to get to 35 as my stop. 42, there we are. 34.50 is my stop. That's the reacceptance back into the zone. This is the kind of setup that I'm looking for as far as a reversal pattern with the divergence. Microsoft's now playing along, Apple's now playing along, right? You can see it here. Microsoft's pushing back up, Apple's pushing back up above its point of control. I would love to see Microsoft take itself back to the highs. 42 is my first target. We're there. I want to push up to VWAP. If we push up to VWAP, then I'll go to value area point of control as my stop. If we break the value, break up into this range here, right? Like that 42, right? I said that's a key line in the sand. If it can't hold that, then it's probably going to rotate back to the downside. Microsoft is fighting that resistance. So is the S&Ps. So is the NASDAQ. So we're going to go to that point, that breakout point there as our break even, because if 42 fails, it's going to stop us out anyway. So I'm going to secure some of it. And now we're going to push the upside. Like I said, if we break up above the top end of this little downtrend, 54-ish, I can get down to 42. And then if we get close to VWAP, then I can hopefully, there's that flush of 42. Is that a stop run? It is a stop run, and then we're out. Damn. Took $100 on it. That's another, hey, are my targets just take the target and run? Do I look for these rollovers from these points? This is why I have a love-hate relationship with trailing. You got the Microsoft pushing down again. It seems to be range bound. I'm not trying to overtrade. Gave back half the week. 11:30 will be the end of the day for the stream. I gotta get ready to go to work. I appreciate everybody tuning in this whole week. It was a really great test week, and I'm excited to get back started again on Monday. Sunday night, I'm gonna either try and record the the market recap or the analysis for the week. If I can't record it, then I'm going to send out that note. It'll have the full breakdown of everything. Not quite yet. I'm going to get off at 11:30. I'm just kind of thanking everybody for the week ahead, just in case I got to cut out before I decide to take one more shot at this long that I've been thinking about all day since we've had it. I know I'm chasing higher prices here, but you're not getting that delta divergence anymore, right? It's still pushing up. Prices aren't making new lows. Just that Microsoft and Apple are really dragging the market around with them. They're whipping them around, or the market's doing the opposite. Maybe now the market has taken control. Like I said earlier, Microsoft was the leader. Then Apple started to play along. Now neither of them are playing along. Now they're kind of dragging down. So I don't think it's going to go green to red, though. That doesn't seem like a likely thing for Microsoft. We opened, we pushed. Green to red on Microsoft for what reason? What do we have as far as news? Barclays downgrades on competition headwinds. Microsoft price target maintained with a 455. Shared by Piper. And it looks to be still pretty good. 42. We're in. Patience pays. This would be my trail rule. So I'm going to set my stop as the trail rule here. I'm going to look to get to break even on the breakout above. Okay, we're at break even, plus $10. So there's a free trade for me. It's a pure momentum based, trying to catch this reversal, be the one. If it's not the one now, then it's not the one. It is what it is. It's probably not. There we go. That's the push I want to see. Something like that. That's a nice little candle. But it also could be a stop run, so just be mindful of that. If that comes back down after that, then I'm not trying this again, because that's pretty strong. But there's liquidity up here. I want to get above that liquidity. 290. Took a little bit off that. Seemed like a stop run. Now look a fade to come back in. Didn't quite see what the tilt was on that, because that, if you saw that candle, how fast that moved right above there, it should have, if it wanted to continue, it should have done it right there. That's what I'm looking at for that kind of move, that kind of trade where it's a breakout type move. If it does it now, okay, now it's got it grabbed already some of that liquidity. It stopped some of us out, right? Took me out. I'm out. Realistically, 42. That was that line right there, and then pushing up. So the idea is there. It's just not my executions. Past 2 days haven't been like precise. I haven't been to pinpoint. We're gonna just kind of grind out. Microsoft pushing back to the upside. Apple got a pop there. Are they taking the market, or is the market taking them? Chicken or the egg? Chop, chop, chop city, baby. I put myself down about 300 on the day. I'm one good trade away. However, I'm been very tight with some of my stops. A lot of the ones that should have played out. I realistically, after this trade here, I would have likely have been done for the day, or looking for this entry to go for that long, right? That's what I've been looking to play, this liquidity zone. These entries here, I got tight with, and
I kind of forced myself to give money back by being tight instead of letting that idea play out where I got the divergences that I was looking for, and all that. I just kind of Fridays gets me to a point where I end up getting a little tight, give some back. I've made good trades today. All my trades have been based off of my ideas that are valid, and there's good reasoning behind all of them.